Now that we've looked at improper integrals that had infinite intervals, let's take a look at what happens if we have a situation that has an infinite discontinuity. So this first example, we have f continuous on the half-open interval a to b, and it has an infinite discontinuity at b. Then the integral from a to b of f of x dx is actually equal to the limit as c approaches b from the left of the integral from a to c of f of x dx. Now this is very similar to what we did before. Just that idea has been modified just to satisfy this scenario. So let's go ahead and draw a quick graph here so we can kind of make some sense of what's going on. What this is saying is this function f of x is continuous from a, but it has an infinite discontinuity at b. So I have a vertical asymptote there. So what we're going to do is let c approach b, and obviously we're approaching from the left. Hence the reason we have the limit as c approaches b from the left, which is right there. So then I would just go ahead and take the find the antiderivative and then take the limit just like we did earlier. The second scenario, it's the exact same idea, only the half-open interval, it's open on the left. So I have an infinite discontinuity on the left. So that picture would be more like this. Perhaps I do have a vertical asymptote there. And perhaps a function, it may do a lot of stuff in here, but just to make it simple, let's suppose it comes up and it asymptotically takes off there. So here's my infinite discontinuity. So what I'm going to do here is take c, but I'm going to let c approach a, obviously from the right. Hence the reason I have the limit as c approaches a from the right, which is right there. Now this last scenario says, okay, suppose I have this closed interval and f is continuous on this closed interval a to b except for c, where c is in a to b. So now I have an infinite discontinuity at c. So perhaps my graph, or if I were to make a graph of the function, would look like this, say from a to b, and let's just say at c I have this vertical asymptote going on. So maybe I've got this sort of a scenario happening. So all I'm going to do is break this up into two pieces. First I'm going to go from a to c and then add it to c to b. So I broke this integral up into two pieces. That's what this is saying here. And now, seeing I have this infinite discontinuity, I'll approach c from the right, from the left on one of them, and the other I'll approach from the right. In other words, once I break it up like this, I'm going to come back up here and use technique either 1 or 2, whichever is most appropriate for whatever side of the limit that I'm taking, or whatever side of the integral that I'm working with.